it's true. I'm going back to the US. In fact, when this video goes live, I'll probably be on an airplane flying back to Florida. Now, there's a few reasons why I couldn't stay in Taiwan any longer, and I just had to get out of there. But the main one is that we have a family emergency back home, and I just have to go back and help out for a bit. So I'll only be gone for a few weeks. I'm sorry for that clickbait. In this video, I'll give you our quick first impressions after 2 months living in Taiwan. Yeah, so we've been here for 2 months now, and there's just so much to share about. So much awesome stuff. Some maybe negative, frustrating things, but mostly really amazing experiences. And I promise to you and to myself that I will have many videos forthcoming about all of these different topics. But just for a basic overview right now, I gotta say, quite honestly, this is turning out to be the best place that we as a family could imagine living in. Of all the places that we know well enough to reasonably judge, there's just really no better place for us, given our socioeconomic circumstances as sort of I'd say solidly middle class Chinese American family, as well as and when I say our, I mean me and my wife, our very strong preference for urban living. I just can't imagine us being able to afford this great of a lifestyle anywhere else that I am familiar with. It's just been absolutely awesome. Now, from my wife's perspective, she is loving it here even more than I am. I do think that part of that is because she's been in vacation mode for the last 2 months. So she's really had sort of the time and flexibility to dive fully into setting up her complete lifestyle here, and ours as well. I mean, she's helped a ton in setting up our whole family's life here. But for her, she joined a gym. She's joined various sort of philanthropic and business networks. She's involved in a lot of our kids' activities, both inside and outside of the classroom. So anyway, just being able to do all of those things without the time pressure or stress of work, I think has a lot to do with her joy here. But there's no doubt that she is just beyond happy, more so than I've ever seen her. A side note, she does have a few job offers, and she is planning to begin working in a few weeks or a month or so. So she's going to slowly transition into that. But it's been great for her to set up everything for her life here in Taiwan. As for my kids, J1, the older one, we call him J1. It's been honestly a struggle for him. He started first grade here in a totally new country, new environment, brand new language, culture. It was really hard. But, you can see every single week, you can see his confidence and happiness improve. And I think he's now definitely on the right track. Many people said to us that those first few months would be really hard, but then after maybe 6 months, he'd be able to speak Chinese, Mandarin. And to be frank, I'm not sure that he's on that track yet. Maybe it'll be more like a year before he can navigate the language comfortably, but he is getting there. On top of it all, we also threw a ton of extracurriculars his way. He's part of the soccer club that's like an hour and a half every week He's now learning violin as part of the orchestra, the school orchestra, which actually that's about almost 4 hours a week for him. And he's also taking piano lessons, and all of these things are brand new for activities for him. So, that has added to the struggle and the adjustment for him. But as I said, you can see that difference each week as he gains confidence with all of these areas in addition to school. So it caused us a lot of trepidation that first month when we were like, did we do this correctly, when he was having difficulties in school and all of that. But he's been an amazing trooper, and I gotta say, J1 has been, ever since we moved here, I think he's really, really been a good kid. Try to do his best in everything, which has been awesome. Because that brings me to our second kid, J2, who has sort of been acting out a little bit. He's been sort of a bad kid ever since we changed environments. And we're trying to give him grace and understand that this is a new place, and maybe that's why he's acting out to some degree. But at the same time, let me explain. It's not like he's unhappy here and he's acting out. It's more like he's just hitting that stage. He's 4. And he never had terrible twos. So we feel like we're going through those terrible twos with him now at the age of 4. But J2, he seems to be having the time of his life. The first few weeks of preschool, those were tough for him in terms of being separated from us. He complained to us every day, many times a day, about not being able to be with me or with Kelly all the time, because he'd grown accustomed to being around us 24/7 for as long as he can remember, for many years. With that said, he also, since day one of preschool, admitted that he liked his preschool a lot. He has friends there, and why wouldn't he? Honestly, it's his preschool is friggin' awesome. It's not a Montessori school technically, but it sure acts like one. They jam pack every single day with full of cool activities, all sorts of different areas and focus. So we haven't given him any extracurriculars outside of preschool, just because because his school hours are very long as it is, from like 8-ish in the morning until 5-ish in the evening. But that said, when I come back to Taiwan from Florida, I'll be bringing a small violin for him so that he can start to have violin lessons as well, because he has been wanting to do that ever since his older brother started. My biggest regret, now that we've been here for 2 months, my biggest regret is not forcing our kids to learn some basic Mandarin before we moved. I can get into why that happened. It was kind of it was partially because of the difficulty of getting them to. They were really resistant to it, and then also combined with the fact that we figured we're going to move to Taiwan. We had this plan in place for several years, so we figured at that time they're just going to have to learn. So I wasn't I wasn't forward thinking enough to realize that even though we're moving to Taiwan, even though they'd be forced to learn it eventually, it would have been much better for me to force them just a little bit sooner, so that it would have helped tremendously, I think, with their adjustment and in dampening that language learning curve. So that's something I wish I could go back and change. Kelly's biggest regret is that we didn't move here sooner. She thinks that if we had come a year sooner, it would have helped with so many things, including this language circumstance. So, she's living her absolutely best life here, and in a lot of ways, so is the whole family. The kids, for their part, have said on a few occasions that they don't ever want to leave Taiwan. They just love it so much. Of course, they're little, and so their comprehension of that concept is dubious. But But yeah, I mean, everyone in a lot of ways, we're loving so many different things about our life here in Taiwan. Like I said, for me and Kelly, you can boil it down to the urban lifestyle for the price that we're paying, which we really wouldn't, certainly in the US, there's no way we could afford any similar lifestyle. And you know, also I'll add our home. So we are settled in a home now. This is one of our bedrooms, and we, you know, it was not what I was planning to do at all. I don't know if I shared this on a video on the channel, but I shared with a lot of other people that our plan was to be somewhat nomadic here in Taipei and maybe just get short-term rentals for 2 or 3 months at a time. And instead, we walked into a place, fell in love, and signed a 2-year lease. And then we've slowly turned it into our real long-term home. And so for a lot of reasons, you know, like I was looking at co-working spaces, I was looking at studios for music and various things, and now suddenly I'm building my own studio here. I don't need to worry about going elsewhere for that. We're really sort of nesting here. We're building our home and we're very comfortable. It is clearly, for me, the best home that I've ever lived in, period. Now, you know, I say that with the condition that I'm talking about not just the quality of the home and how it suits us, but the location. When you factor in the home itself plus the location being in such a prime area of a major cosmopolitan city, it can't be beat. Not sure if I'm ready to wrap up this video, but I gotta run, speaking of preschool, to pick up J2. So I'll be back to wrap it up, or maybe it is wrapped up. I don't know. So I did pick up my kid. It was raining, so I had to wear a raincoat, which is pretty common here. Although this is a new raincoat, I just got this today. But previously I had been using a sort of a waterproof jacket. Because I have waterproof pants and a waterproof jacket because it rains a lot and I'm riding my bicycle. But the problem with the jacket and the pants are that they're kind of built for colder weather. And right now it's not too cold. It's like 72, 73 degrees. And so it can get kind of hot. So we got this raincoat my wife did for me and it was great. Anyhow, I came back to share one more thing, and that is, lest you believe that I am leaving for a month and leaving my wife with the kids all alone. Her parents are arriving, so the timing worked out well, and her parents are going to be arriving just a few days after I leave, and then her brother as well, so her whole family's going to be visiting.